so I started changing what I ate. I dieted at 7 years old. I just remember being hungry a lot.
This girl named Caitlin, when I was in like middle school, invited me and making an excuse not to go just because I was embarrassed to take my shirt off.
From there, I built a little bit of a binge eating behavior because, as you know, if you smoke weed, you're going to get a little bit of the munchies. It's going to act on your hormones and increase ghrelin, appetite hormone, to achieve a healthy body fat level, a healthy body weight. You don't have to be a physique competitor on stage or anything like that. That just took a toll on my spiritual health, my mental health. I would gain weight and I'd get into fantastic shape again, then slip up. It was like this back and forth, and I was like, man, I don't want to struggle with this anymore.
Faith and fitness, something we all should be prioritizing in our life. And that I'm going to talk about today with my incredible guest, Thomas Padilla, who's here in the studio, ready to drop some fire for you guys. He is the owner of Thrive Coaching and Fitness. But what I love about Thomas is I spoke on a stage with you in Modesto, California. That's where we met. Shout out to Chris Aguilar and Andy for putting on that event. And man, I just love the man that you are. I knew when I met you then, we worked out at the hotel. It was like, you just meet people and you're like, man, I want to hang out with this guy. He's a great guy. What I also love is that we're all not perfect. And as someone that's growing in their faith and their fitness, even you've had to walk through some things that we're going to talk about on today's episode. Yes, I'm clickbaiting you guys to watch the rest of the episode to get more. But we're going to share some raw and vulnerable things. And you've done that with me. And I have such a respect for men that are willing to be real with each other. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And again, just shout out to you, honoring Chris for holding that event. That was an amazing event. You crushed it as well. And to see what you've been doing and to see your growth and all the platforms that you're opening up, man, very inspiring. And I respect you a lot and I appreciate the time, man.
Let's go. Likewise, man. Cool. So let's get into it, Thomas. Faith and fitness.
Yeah.
What has pushed you to get into those two things? What made you want to get into fitness? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about what has your journey been like with faith? Let's just go deep right off the rip.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, born and raised Christian and, chubby kid when I grew up, love eating. I have a wonderful family, lived here in San Diego my whole life and wonderful family, but there's a lot of food around too. Drank a lot of Kool-Aid, sweets, fast foods. I mean, you know the drill. We live in America, so all that stuff is just super easily accessible. And me as a kid loved it, was always around and loved to eat. So naturally it was just a chubby kid. But, I always looked up to the football players, NFL, and when I was about 6 years old, about to be 7, that was the first year you could start playing organized sports, organized football.
Yeah.
And I was a big kid. I was 7 years old and they had weight limits back in the day. So you couldn't weigh any more than 75 pounds.
Really?
And I was 86 pounds at the time. And I told my father, I was like, I want to play football, and I was self-conscious, I was a little kid, elementary school, but I didn't love the way I looked, like going to pool parties or birthdays and stuff.
Didn't want to take your shirt off.
Just a little kid. I was just kind of embarrassed, But, so I signed up for the football leagues, Chula Vista Aztecs at the time, Pop Warner leagues, weight limits. And, I was getting my tail whooped at the football practices, running suicides, bear crawls, man killers, all that stuff, voice wheezing, as I was doing the laps. I remember just being in tremendous pain, uncomfortable. My father took me to the grocery store. We bought lean cuisine dinner, smart choice meals, slim fast shakes, meal replacement bars. And so I started changing what I ate. I dieted at 7 years old. I said my dad didn't know everything about nutrition, but he just knew what he saw in marketing. So he just bought those types of products. And I just remember being hungry a lot and eating these meals that just really weren't tasting very good. But I wanted to lose the weight. I started losing the weight. I was getting my tail whipped at the football practices. I started building better conditioning, started not to be the last guy. I remember my father always taught me that, hey, just whatever you do, because he knew I was a bigger kid and these kids were a little bit more experienced than me. He said, whatever you do, just don't be the last guy. Don't ever be the last guy. Be pushing. Don't be that last person. So that always was in my head when I was doing all the drills and everything like that.
Let's go, Dad.
So he did instill that in me. He supported me. I remember going to bed hungry at night, uncomfortable. Loved my dad. He dressed me in sweats at night, sweatpants, got me as hot as I possibly could. So while I slept at night, I was losing weight. That's not how it works at all.
Now being a fitness instructor, it doesn't work that way.
That's just I was hot, I was uncomfortable, I was hungry. But, I had a goal and I worked hard to it. And something, I had that little drive in me, even as a 7-year-old kid,
Come on.
and ended up losing the weight. My coaches knew everything that I was doing. They got behind me. They saw me working hard. Weigh-in day came, they line up all the kids in their underwear, just standing there in your underwear, and there's a scale up there, and you're just inching closer to the scale, one kid at a time. They have the scale set to 75 pounds. So as soon as you step on it, if you're over 75 pounds, it's going to boop, and then just hold there at the top. Okay, you didn't make it. Or if you're not less than 75 pounds, it's just going to stay there. And so nervous, hungry, in my underwear, and step on that scale, and then it touches the top, and then it just balances out perfectly, 75 pounds. And all my coaches like, yeah, awesome, Padilla, this and that.
Yeah.
My O-line coach is, I'm going to buy you a donut. This and that. Went and bought me a donut, and I remember.
You earned it.
I did. I earned that donut, ate that sugar. I still remember it today. It was a sugar twist.
Yeah. Those
donut.
were so good. Those were my favorite.
Yeah, I had that. And then Carl's Jr. Chicken sandwich was like my favorite meal at the time, believe it or not. And
Out of all things.
Yeah, out of all things, that and some fries. And my dad drove me right to Carl's Jr. And I remember eating it, and I couldn't even finish it because my stomach had like kind of shrank. I was used to small portions, and felt kind of like uncomfortable, and so I couldn't even eat the whole meal. So, but I remember doing that, and so that kind of set the stage. I had to do that at age 7, and then naturally, football season, at the end of the season, I would kind of gain weight a little bit more, just off season. Age 8 came around, kind of had to do the same thing, lost 8 pounds or so. 9 years old, kind of had to do the same thing. Age 10 came around, and I started leaning out a little bit more, and didn't have to do that. But, I did that at a very young age. And I remember my father saying, like, man, why is my 7-year-old son wanting to do all this? All the other 7-year-olds just want to, play games and eat candy and drink soda, all that type of stuff. But I don't know. I had that goal. I wanted to work hard. I saw myself as wanting to do this, achieve a goal, be a role model for other people too. So, like, I don't know. I kind of carried that with me at a young age. And, through sports, that was kind of my main idea. But, by the time I was age 19, 20, I just realized, man, my passion is in fitness. I love this. I push myself. I could see myself doing this. So that's how I then, got hired at 24 Hour Fitness, worked for that company for a few years, loved it, learning sales, all that type of stuff, building experience. And then from there, opening my own private studio myself, just kind of stepping out when I was 25 years old. Opening, I just had that in my heart. I've always told myself I want to own a chain of gyms one day, and so I made that step. And then, COVID happened, all that stuff. But my mindset was trying to build and transition into the online space. So from there, built an online company, had the right mentors that kind of taught me. And then from there, just keep building. Like I said, thrive comes from, I don't believe that most people are actually thriving in life. We live in America. It's just like people are sitting too much. They're overweight. Their joints hurt. Their energy levels suck. They're not sleeping well. There's fast food on every corner. They're not physically inspired. They're not mentally inspired by what they're doing every day. Like, most people aren't thriving. It's a small group that are truly thriving.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can do that if you just truly learn the small habits necessary for success. It doesn't mean you have to kill yourself in the gym or do all this crazy stuff, but you want to perform better. You want to feel better. You want to feel more aligned even. That's where the spiritual component comes in. That, man, you can just truly thrive, So fitness has done a lot for me personally, and my mission is to help other individuals, even entrepreneurs, people that are in the workforce, to really, go from point A to point B in the most effective, safest way possible, take all the guesswork out of it.
Let's go.
And ultimately become closer to God. God has done amazing things for my life. So that's kind of how the fitness side came into the
Dude, that's so good and so cool to see. At 7, you had to push yourself and work hard and overcome, like, hey, I'm overweight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident in the way that I look. I want to play football, and I know I got to put in hard work to do this, which set a tone and a theme for your whole life that now you get to help other people go through that.
Yeah.
And dude, I hit puberty late as a young man.
Okay.
So I didn't develop as fast as
looking good now.
I'm getting there, bro.
The shoulders, the chest filled out.
Let's go. Trying to get like you, bro.
Go on.
And I actually, as a young man, didn't like going to pool parties. And I remember this girl named Caitlin, when I was in middle school, inviting me. It's a girl I liked. Invited to her house at a nice pool.
Yeah.
And making an excuse not to go just because I was embarrassed to take my shirt off.
Yeah.
And I remember that feeling, that insecurity as a young man. And just remember, I don't ever want to feel that again. And it's so, I think as people don't talk about that. Even as adults, crazy thing is I've still had to deal with that childhood trauma of that as an adult. Even now, I still have to catch myself sometimes, you know? Because like if I've ate bad for a few weeks, I'm a little more bloated, and I'm not, and I'm like, I don't like the way I look. I still notice some hesitation sometimes, and I'm like, I know other people feel this too.
Yeah, of course.
And there's something I'm very big on. People would probably say I'm a pretty confident person from the outside looking in, but it's been a constant, confidence comes from a place of actually putting in the work and getting results. That's true confidence.
Amen.
You know, like you're confident in your fitness because you've actually done it and truly put in the work.
Right.
So when I don't do that, I know I can project confidence, but there's still doubt. But when I've actually done the work, I stand on a confidence that's like, I have suffered and sacrificed to know. And so it's cool to hear that. And I think other people listening to this, there's probably people driving going, man, like, I feel that way right now. What would you say to the person who's like, dude, I'm an adult. I'm not where I want to be with my fitness. I don't like taking my shirt off around people. Thomas, where do I start? How do I develop that view at 7?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's never too late, first of all. It's never too late to start. You know, that's an excuse. Oh, we're getting old, all this type of stuff. It's never too late to feel better, to make better decisions, to set goals in your life. Come on, start making positive action. So that's one thing. And then, you know, also just starting small as well. It's really about habits. Like we live in a world with all this marketing here. We got all these things, the peptides, the hormone, the detoxes, the diets, the carbs, all these types of, you know, answers. When it comes down to it, there's big rocks when it comes to fitness, and there's little rocks. There's things that are important, and there's some things that really aren't quite as important. So if you could focus on the big rocks, you know, and do those consistently, you can see great progress and feel better with even in your first 7 days. You're not far away from starting to feel awesome and starting to feel some great changes, you know? So again, it's about improving your overall food quality. You know, we live in a world that it's just inundated with fast foods.
Yeah, break down the big rocks and the small rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
For us, like take us through that. What would you prioritize? What are big rocks all the way to small rocks?
Big rocks. So again, when it comes to nutrition, it's food quality, eating the right foods in the right amounts, and starting to really view food as nourishment, just like God intended us for us to do. You know, God put these foods on earth for us as medicine. It is truly medicine for your body. So if you're wondering why your joints hurt and your body hurts, you're not feeling good, it's typically what you start with, what you eat. You know, so it's just like, hey, how can we improve your food quality and start building some better habits, some better knowledge about how to grocery shop, better systems to do so, you know, what foods are going to work better for you. So it's like food quality is number one, and then eating the right foods in the right amounts, number two, for your body size, your activity level, your goals. And consuming adequate amounts of protein, so you're not hungry all the time. You're truly giving your body the building blocks that it needs to thrive. So again, big rocks is nutrition, you know, food quality in the right amounts, building those habits up, consistent movement, super important, big rock, and it can come in all different shapes and colors, but, you know, walking, very, very key.
Most underrated thing, right?
It is. You know, sitting is the new smoking. You know, it's killing us. It's we're losing muscle, we're losing our joint strength. So it's just like, what are we doing to move? And it can take all shapes and forms too. Sometimes playing with your kids, you know, that's movement, that's exercise. Even moving boxes in your home, moving, all that type of stuff is exercise. So it's like building in consistent movement, layering in around 3 strength training sessions per week. Strength training and building muscle is truly the fountain of youth. Most people that you see that are getting older, they're losing their posture, they're starting to hunch over, they're losing muscle, they're losing strength. So it's like, we got to keep some muscle in your body. I've had the privilege of training my parents for the last few years. And helping them get stronger, alleviate shoulder pain, and they look the best they've ever, they're in their early 60s now. They look better than they did in their 40s. In their 40s, they were not training, they were not moving, they were not eating the right foods. They were under-muscled, and now they have muscle, they have more flexibility, they walk consistently, they're eating more protein, they're doing most of the big rocks now. They're starting to understand sleep, which is another big rock. So again, it's food quality, it's layering in some strength training, it's moving your body on a consistent basis, it's sleeping 7 to 9 hours each night, managing stress in healthy ways. Like, those are big rocks.
And I read, it was actually on Ed Milet's podcast, he had brought on his own doctor, and a ton of studies are coming on. You probably know better than me, but skeletal muscle mass, they're finding to be one of the biggest factors to longevity of life. Is that true?
Yeah, amen. It's truly the fountain of youth. If you can, like I said, most people aren't over fat, they're under muscled. people are losing their muscle. We're sitting on our butt all day. We're not doing any strength training. Once we get out of high school, we stop all these organized activities. It's just a slow downward decline.
Yeah, just decline.
Muscle metabolism slows down. We're not sleeping as good. We're staying up too late. It's just we lose sight of just the healthy things that, there's parts of the world where people live the longest into their hundreds, and feel good. And what do? They do the big rocks. They're eating better foods. They eat them in the right amounts. They're not overflowed with processed foods. They're moving. They're making things. They're sleeping well. Those are the big rocks. And so we just get away from them in our lifestyle. So it's like sometimes when you just want to get back into it, you don't really need to look for the simple quick fix and all these.
And that's
things.
Today marketing and everything's trying to sell you the pill to lose weight or this new thing that's coming out.
Exactly.
And it's a lot of it's just BS.
Yeah.
And would you say after you've taken care of these big rocks,
right,
there are some other smaller rocks you can add on top of that to optimize?
Yeah, of course. Sure. Then maybe if you've already built a foundation of your health, you're feeling good, you're at an acceptable body weight, but then sure, maybe you want to get to the next level. You want to add more muscle. Maybe you want to maximize your workouts. Maybe you want to improve your fitness. Maybe you want to hit a fitness goal, like squatting a certain amount, benching a certain amount, competing in a 5K, or maybe these certain things. And sure, maybe manipulating your carbohydrates if you're trying to get leaner, manipulating those, adding in some hormones, some peptides, some vitamins, those types of things. Like those are some of the smaller rocks, but it's like for most people
try to come into this not getting those big, and it's like, well, let me take the hormones, the peptides, buy all the subs.
Let me try this pill, this and that. And it's like, listen, those could help a little bit for sure. But if you can do the big rocks and do those things consistently, you'll save time, you'll save money.
And if you do those things but don't do conducively the bigger things, nutrition, diet, exercise, all that, you're not going to see the results that you think you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just going from one boat to the next boat to the next boat and just looking for the next quick fix, where it's like there are no quick fixes. It's about adjusting this right here. It's about adjusting what's in there. I think that's where the spiritual side comes into play too, because I think that most people that struggle with their health, there's usually some spiritual component that they're wrestling with too. Maybe it's family trauma, or maybe it's certain vices that they have, certain strongholds, certain addictions, certain things in the past, whatever it is, and they use these other negative habits to self-soothe a little bit, whether it's food or other negative habits, so it's like sometimes that's where I think God just comes into play. Like I feel like God calls you into excellence in everything that you do. The way you speak, the way you act, the way you treat others, what you put in your body, how you rest. He gives us the blueprint on how to feel the best, but we stray away from that in life. We start prioritizing the wrong things in life. We start idolizing the wrong things, and we worship the wrong things in life instead of worshiping the one that's given us all, So, I think that spiritual component. So that's where, when you layer in that, it can just help you feel more aligned and make those better decisions and challenge you to stay in the fight.
That's so good. So we hit fitness pretty good. I want to ask one more question on that or two, but then I want to go more deep in faith.
Mm-hmm.
You've coached a lot of people in fitness, right?
Yes.
What has been the biggest challenge working with all these people you've noticed that most human beings have when it comes to hitting their fitness goals?
Mm-hmm. I would say the all or nothing thinking, where they're either all the way in or you're all the way out.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground there, and we beat ourselves up because, again, for you to achieve the big rocks and to achieve a healthy body fat level, a healthy body weight, you don't have to be a physique competitor on stage or anything like that, right? If you're just a healthy individual, that's improving your longevity. Again, it's just about doing those big rocks, and to achieve that, you just have to be good most of the time. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be good most of the time. We can have some birthdays and holidays and vacations, but it's like, what do your normal daily routines look like? What is your normal relationship with strength training and movement? And it's like, if you just layer in those habits and lifestyle, that's what it's truly about. But most people are just, they get that burst of motivation to follow some plan that's ultimately not going to sustain them. And like I said, it's that all or nothing thinking. It's like, okay, I'm going all in on this. I'm going all in on cutting all my carbs or doing my intermittent fasting, or
you get burned out.
Plant-based. It's like, listen, like you gotta find something that you're adjusting your expectations. I think is important. That's what it comes down to, is expecting the right things and expecting it to be a lifelong sustainable habit. So I think people struggle with that when they feel like they're not doing enough, when they start missing. They have a tough week, they have a tough month, and then now they're like, oh, this isn't it for me, this and that, and then they fall back into bad habits. So I think that's one thing, is the mindset behind consistency. either all the way in or all the way out. And also your environment, I think, is very, very important. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes our behavior.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're hanging out with the wrong people and going to the wrong places and loading up with the wrong foods around your house, you know, you can do yourself a much better service by just changing the environment a little bit.
Yeah.
Getting into church a little bit,
good.
getting around some people that are going to pour into you a little bit more, you know.
If you hang out with guys that look like Thomas all day, you're going to,
you know,
get more fit.
You're going to feel, to be honest with you, what's funny too is whenever I'm hanging out with my clients or family or whatever it is, they feel self-conscious just if they're eating something and I'm around. They're like,
hey, it's natural in every fitness
exactly.
buddy or
like,
coach.
Gosh, like I feel a little bit, he's watching me, he's right there, you know, but it's good, you know, it's not a bad thing. But you're right. It's like if you're on the right people, they're gonna make you feel a little uncomfortable about your decisions. They'll make you look at yourself a little bit.
Come on,
phew, man, maybe what I'm doing is unacceptable. But when I'm around all these people that are doing that, and that's the norm.
It's a higher standard.
Exactly.
You know, it's like if you like you look at a scale of fitness from being like 1 to 10, and you, let's say, are 5 probably with your fitness, nutrition, diet, exercise, and you go hang around 8 and 9s or 9s and 10s, you're going to naturally start drawing up, like you're going to be noticing like, man, you got bigger biceps, you're more fit, you have less body fat, you eat healthier. When we go out to eat, you choose different options, you're intentional.
Exactly.
And then you're, just by power proximity, you'll naturally start ordering better food, working out more, doing things more because you're hanging out with people on that standard.
Exactly.
Or vice versa.
Exactly. Just I could even think about, you know, some of the individuals I used to hang out in the past, you know, high school buddies and stuff like that. In the past when, you know, I've always had the two sides of me, one that, you know, loves fitness, loves working hard, training. I've had that always in my pocket. And then another side that has been loose. Maybe we're hanging out with the wrong guys. We're idolizing the wrong things and having the wrong values, you know, but also, you know, they eat fast. We order the right foods, almost a competition to finish our foods, you know, but, you know, you start hanging out. I have some different circle now. And I mean, we make different decisions to who I am. You know, I enjoy feeling good every day. There is no price you can put on every day waking up and feeling great and your gut feels great and you have energy levels, you know, and that comes from the decisions from what you eat. So it's like I value that. I enjoy that. And I can feel it when you're in that state and you make an eating decision. Maybe you're eating something greasy or fatty or something like that. It's not like it's wrong with that every now and again, but you feel it.
You feel it.
You feel it. You can feel how it lowers your energy a little bit. It lowers your vibration.
The feeling, if I ever do anything that I know wasn't the best choice, that feeling after.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I'm so like hard on myself too that I'll beat myself, and not in a bad way, but like how do we change the lifestyle habits to where this is less and less, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's having some good skills. It's one of the things I teach my clients because everyone's always on the go. They're always traveling. There's always something going on. They're always busy. Everyone's busy.
Right.
And if you're telling yourself that you need to change, you need to wait until some other time, then you're just training yourself that you're never going to take action and you're never going to develop the skills. You're always pushing it down the road. And that's why you are where you are. It's the mindset, you know. But when I work with the clients, it's about developing skills. Like no matter where you are, you can make a good decision.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, you can.
Like telling them, hey, have some food with you. You're pre-prepared.
Always prepare. You can always bring something with you. On the way here, I was eating a little protein bar that I kept in my bag because I was like, you know, I might get hungry in the next little bit of time here, you know. But I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be ahead of hunger. So it's like developing those skills, developing a little bit of preparation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not some crazy harsh diet.
And dude, you hit on like, I think like. There's that saying that like you won't change until the pain of where you're at hurts more than evoking the pain of change, right? Mm-hmm. And that's very true, but it's very also unfortunate when it comes to fitness because what happens with a lot of people is they get so fed up with the way they look or feel that they go to that all or nothing mentality. They take this radical diet. They cut all the carbs out of their life. They go in the gym. They go like every day that week. They're super sore. They haven't worked out in a long time. They're really tired because they're not used to being on a body that doesn't have carbohydrates for energy. And they get burnt out and they quit. And it's like this endless cycle. And then they feel a little bit good about themselves because, well, I did work hard this week. And then you justify the bad meal. And like I've been in my own mini versions of that. But I know you're the fitness guy, but for me, I've realized finally, like with everything I want in life, making more money, being more successful, being closer to God, it's all, I'm choosing a different lifestyle, period. So I think the biggest thing, like I've noticed with even me and my health is, Cody, if you want to be a good looking dude in good shape and feel good every day, you are committing to be set apart, just like we talk about holy and righteous in the word of God and being set apart, meaning even if people around you compromise, you need to get in the gym and strength train. Mine's 5 days a week.
Come on.
You need to buy, like, we buy organic grass. I'm more animal-based diet.
Yeah.
We're like 70-30. I want to say we're 80. We give ourselves room to, like, we just went to a Cuban place before this.
Yeah.
You know, Tony producing the podcast, there was some brand stuff. It wasn't totally animal-based.
Yeah.
But I leave myself the margin to have a couple of those meals.
Yeah.
Because 70% of the time, I know I'm getting it right.
Yeah,
you know, and then my wife's on board. Our home's on board. The way we grocery shop. And, dude, I feel and look better than I've ever looked in my life. When we spoke on stage, I was a lot smaller, bro.
Yeah, no, you put on muscle 100%.
So it's cool. And I definitely have some weeks that I'm like, I'll evaluate.
Right,
like,
right.
Wow, I ate out 5 times this week.
Yeah.
Yes, I had meetings with people, but what I ate out when I was with them wasn't intentional.
Yeah, there you go.
I should call Thomas next time. So I don't know. That's just what I've noticed. And that's why hiring a coach like you or having a mentor, having a voice in your life that creates a level of accountability is so important, because the discipline and the restraint and the willpower to change your lifestyle can be really hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's gotta come from within, though, too. You know, like you said, you know, change comes when the pain of making the change overcomes staying the same. You know, so it's like you got to be at that point, and that's not necessarily something I can give you. I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to build a plan specific for you that says, hey, based on where you're at, your stress levels, your activity levels, your personal goals, this is what we should do. You know, okay, you're going to be out of town. Perfect. This is what we want to do this next week, you know, and it's not always about expecting perfection. Sometimes it just comes down to making a couple better choices, you know, but yeah, you've done that. I could tell it, man. I could see it.
I'm in process.
Filling out, you know, and that's the same thing with me, man. You know, I want to, I want to be an amazing husband, an amazing father. I want to be an amazing entrepreneur. I want people to look and say, that's an individual that takes care of his body. And it's not that everyone has to have all these large muscles and, like, you know, be ripped or anything like that. But it's like, you know, most people can feel better and thrive. Like I said, truly, there's another level to how you can perform and how you can feel.
And I don't care what anyone says. When you look good and feel good, you operate in everything better.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Everything.
Totally.
You want to make, like, I know when I feel great and I know I've hit the gym every day and I'm on a work call or I'm pouring into someone or coaching or speaking on a stage, I naturally perform better.
Yep.
And if I didn't, I perform worse.
Yeah.
That alone for me is enough standard to keep me to that, you know?
It radiates in everything that you do. You carry yourself different, you speak different, you behave different, you work different, you're more focused, you know, you're more organized, you're more diligent with everything that you do. So it definitely bleeds. But another big important point, it's like it doesn't have to always be the super crazy routine. It's just like what you
little things.
Yeah, little things to help you perform better daily. Sometimes it's a small workout. Sometimes you have more energy. You can crank the dial up a little bit. Sometimes you have to dial it down, but you never turn the dial off. That's the big one.
And people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
It was about money and success, but what about fitness?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if I know that, all right, I got friends that have, like, done body composition, and I'm like, wow, you changed your body so much in the last, like, 5 months.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, totally.
I'm probably not going to go to that radical level to change my body.
Yep.
I have a lot of other commitments in my life. However, I know that these small little things compounded over time, I receive compound interest on my effort.
Yep.
And I think people, it's like I'm 30 right now, and if I want to be in great shape when I'm 40, all I have to do is make mostly good decisions with my health over the next 10 years.
Yep.
It'll land me at a good spot at 40.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I just think people don't do that. Maybe I'm just wired that way. I think about my money that way, my relationships that way, my health that way.
Yep.
I'm like, I know me, and I like ice cream, and I love Jenny's ice cream out of La Casa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat ice cream.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna be the guy that never does it.
And you should. Yeah.
But I know that I'm mostly going to make the right decision. Right. I'm going to say no driving by Jenny's more times than I don't.
Right.
And over time, I'll compound and hopefully, you know, I'll look like Thomas at 40.
Right. Absolutely. You know, it's like what they say, you know, out of 100 meals, if you eat 90 healthy meals and 10 crappy meals, it's not going to destroy your health.
No.
And the same is opposite. You know, if you have 90 crappy meals and you inspire yourself to eat 10 healthy ones, it's really not going to do that much of a difference.
And people do that more in America than the other.
Yeah.
Right? They like white, healthy 10% of the time.
Yeah, you got to be good most of the time. So that's where you got to flip the numbers. And then doing that alone can give you amazing health and amazing longevity, amazing prosperity. And then, yeah, when you get to certain things like you see on Instagram, you see all these people that are ripped and shredded and maybe on hormones and things like that. That's a different level. For those people to get on stage and do those things, that's not healthy. What they go through isn't healthy.
Yeah.
That's a different level. That's a competition. That's them driving their body and trying to get the most out they can physically for a short period of time. They're not like that all the time.
No, because you see them
take all the photos right there. So what they post, it makes it look like that's what they're at all the time. And it creates this illusion that's like, oh, that's what I want. And if I'm not there, then what am I even doing?
But it also creates a body of dysmorphia. There's a lot of things they struggle with. And
you compare yourself to others, and then that lowers your self-esteem, So, that's why you gotta know who you are in Christ and God.
So let's go there now. All right, so we've hit fitness pretty well. And real quick, to pause on fitness, where can people find you if they want to hire a guide in this journey to improve their fitness?
Yeah, absolutely. You can check me out on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Thomas Padilla, Facebook, LinkedIn, Thomas Padilla. You're going to see some content in there, what I put out, client stories as well. Website, tcafitnesscoaching.com, Thrive Coaching Academy, TCA. So you can check me out there. Would love to connect with you as well, too, if that's something that you feel like it's in your heart. Maybe it's the time. Maybe you're feeling that spirit stirring a little bit. We start with a conversation, see where you're at, see if we're a good fit, and we go from there.
Come on. Yeah. I just, guys, if you've been someone that's on a broken record of trying to improve your health and you haven't been able to break out of it, and you go to that point where you're like, oh, enough's enough, and you get motivated, and then you quit, and you do it over and over again. The best advice I could give, I don't care if it's your finances, your fitness, your relationships, your marriage, your faith, get a mentor.
Yeah.
Get a coach.
Totally.
So Thomas is a guy, I can vouch for him, vetted, amazing man of God, knows his stuff when it comes to what he does. He does it really well. Definitely take advantage of that. Now let's go to the other element of this, because you can be the fittest guy in the world, but if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, and you don't have a relationship with God, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be empty inside.
Amen.
And I've met men like that.
Yep.
I've met men that they physically look at them, you're like, wow, you're a Hercules, bro. But inside they're depressed, they're insecure, there's this broken inside, there's a lot of brokenness because they don't know Jesus. What has your faith journey been like? What has brought you now to where you're at with your faith?
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I have a wonderful family. I was raised Christian. We did go to church on Sunday. It wasn't anything like super hard. My parents were never super hard Christians that really went hard on that. But they, definitely want to instill and help me know God, make the right decisions, have that moral compass. And I even remember in sports and baseball, I remember on my baseball bat, I even drew a cross on my baseball bat, like the Lord is by my side, even at the plate,
Wow.
So I actually did have that relationship with God and, even through high school. But, as I transitioned out of high school, that's kind of where I started a little bit distancing myself because I started to value the wrong things in life. I was listening a lot of hip hop and hanging out with some friends, and, I never really did too much in high school, but at the very end, I started drinking a little bit, right? Just, it's what everyone else was doing. I was seeing, oh, cool, the status people at parties, that's what they're talking about. And at first I was like, that's not really for me, but, just slowly over time, it just kind of seemed like something that was more fun. It's kind of what my friends were talking about. That's what people idolize. There was status. Oh, it's cool. People, they have so many friends, that type of thing. And, when I got out of high school, I started drinking a little bit more, partying with the friends a little bit more, and started smoking some weed. That was the first thing, that kind of entered my life was a little bit of cannabis, and then would just do that, and from there I built a little bit of a binge eating behavior because, as you know, if you smoke weed, you're going to get a little bit of the munchies. It's going to act on your hormones and increase ghrelin, appetite hormone. And man, I tell you what, I could put some food down, that's for sure. But very unhealthy, especially for someone that was, kind of coming out of junior college, getting into personal training, wanted to work hard, wanted to take care of my health, but also in my free time started struggling with this a little bit too.
Wow.
And
so you're learning about fitness and going in on it, but in your free time, you're also giving some addictions.
Like I would train hard. I was doing like some CrossFit based workout and I would crush it in the gym and then afterwards smoke and then eat a lot and justify, but I was kind of balancing things out a little bit, so it wasn't, you wouldn't really see it. I still looked like I was in decent shape, but just over time, I just, as I kind of had like two sides of myself. One side that's always been driven, like, ever since I was 7 years old, that always wanted to move forward and push and grow and learn and do good service. I cared a lot about the service that I provided. And when people, I remember working at 24-Hour Fitness, and I wanted to be the type of person where if someone inquired about personal training, they're just talking to members, they're going to say, hey, you want to go with that guy right there, Thomas. You want to go with him. He's going to take good care of you. That's the type of, integrity I wanted to keep. But again, in my free time, there's also another part of me that just, I enjoyed partying. I enjoyed drinking, and it was fun going out and chasing women and doing all that type of stuff, and just, there was two sides. So that was kind of what I was doing in my free time when I was off of work. And then when I was on work, I would work hard, But then, over time, one thing led to another. I started partying a little bit more. Then that kind of the party circle started to grow a little bit. Some people jumped into that party circle that had drugs on them, that sold drugs. And now it's kind of like around me a little bit more. Then I started trying that slowly, party drugs, and started going to a couple raves. So like that life slowly started to like kind of grow a little bit. I started trying different things and wanting that a little bit more. And yes, I was kind of working hard in my space and like doing pretty good, but it's only really a fraction of what I'm capable of. And I was still doing pretty good, even just with a fraction of myself, And but just over time, it started to try more things. And one of the big ones that really started to hook me was cocaine.
Yeah.
That's the big one, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I tried it. I was like, that's pretty fun. I could stay out. You can drink more and be good and be able to drive, and just a bunch of bad decisions that came with that, And it kind of came to the point, and this was like, what was that at the time? Like kind of like 24, 25, kind of when it started to become to a point where I didn't necessarily want to go out as much. I kind of just wanted to do the drugs, and I started to just kind of stay at home and consume a little bit. And that's when I really started to look in the mirror. I'm like, whoa, like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
How did I get to this point? And it was kind of a slow and steady decline of myself in a way, and it just started with being around the wrong people, idolizing the wrong things, listening to the wrong music, trying the drugs, getting kind of hooked on the drugs. And I would kind of go through spurts where I was like, nah, this isn't me. And I would stop hanging out with the friends. I would stop doing all that, go completely sober. I'd get certifications. I'd do Spartan races with my clients, and I'd open up my own business. And then I'd kind of just be alone by myself. I went from working at a gym to just working in my private studio just by myself, and I felt lonely and I didn't have friends, and I was trying to like grow and trying to do these things. I was trying to stay away from bad habits. And then I just felt like I wasn't having any fun. And then I kind of relapse and go back into those bad habits. And it was kind of this on and off stint that I fought with through 26 years old, 27 years old. And, in 2019, I kind of hit my worst point. I was truly addicted. And I was, when that drug takes over your brain, like, man, it takes over your brain.
Yeah.
And you start trying to hide your behaviors a little bit, right? You're hiding it from your clients, you're hiding it from your family, your friends. Yeah, and to the point where I was like, man, like, this is not good. And I had thoughts. I was like, man, do I need to take myself to rehab? And I was like, is that where I'm at? And when
it's crazy because one day you can wake up and be like, how did I get here?
That's, exactly like that, And like I said, on one side, I went from 24-Hour Fitness and opening my own business at 25 and doing great.
And from the outside looking in,
right,
everybody's like, Thomas is doing great.
He's killing. He's got his own business.
And there's a lot of people in the world like that. And you almost live and ride on the identity of what people think you are, what you're doing.
Right.
And you hide these demons in the closet, and these skeletons and these bad habits and these bad addiction, because I've been there. And it just grows if you don't talk about it, if you don't shed light on it, if you don't deal with it.
Yeah, totally. And that's why, always speaking it and owning it has always given me power in all instances. When you just own it, you take ownership for your life.
Well, and the word even says confess your sins to your brothers, right? Confessing our sins to each other immediately takes back over dominion and power over it. Because the enemy wants you to be shameful and guilt. And Thomas, who are you? And you've done this, and you're addicted to drugs.
Right.
And the longer you hide that in there, the more Satan has a grip on you. But the moment you say, honestly, I'm not okay. I'm struggling. I'm doing cocaine. I'm doing these things. Is the moment you start to get power over it.
Yeah, exactly. And so like 2019 was kind of the worst point. I was just like, man, when I would go on these little bingers, and it was just a mix of cocaine and drinking and smoking and binge eating, this nasty ball of sin that just took a toll on my spiritual health, my mental health. I would gain weight as well, and I'd try to hide it. I always hit it decently well whenever I gained weight, but I would gain weight 20 or 30 pounds and
Oh, wow.
bump up. And I'd be like, my gosh, dude, like, here, and I'd get into fantastic shape again, then slip up. It was like this back and forth, and I was like, man, I don't want to struggle with this anymore. But like I said, in this span of my life, these few years here where I kind of fought off and on, I didn't really have God in my life. There was even a point where I was agnostic. I didn't believe in God.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember reading a couple books that made me think about science a little bit more. I remember in junior college, there was an anthropology teacher who actually gave a really compelling speech and session one day about kind of disproving God. And I cling to that a little bit, and I cling to this. And like I said, that was kind of in the beginning before I started really struggling with these demons too. And so I did kind of separate from God. I didn't believe in God too. I remember even my family kind of being a bit worried when the conversation would come up.
And was that during this time period?
That was during this time period.
So you were pretty distant, yeah.
Yeah, so I was very distant.
Wow.
And so, I was like, I didn't believe in this mythical guy in the sky and this and that, and I remember in 2019, fast forward, having these struggles, and I just remember something's got to change here, Tom, because I was thinking, man, do I got to take myself to rehab? Is that truly where I'm at? And I was like, I don't need this. I know I can stop this. I know I can, and I felt like, I feel like a spiritual component of my life has been absent for a while. And I was like, something's got to change here. So I remember in 2019 telling myself, I was like, you know what? I don't even fully believe. I'm going to half-hearted believe, but I need to believe in something. I mean, this young guy that has his business, I don't have anyone to be accountable to. I make my own schedule and this and that and this and that. I was like, I need someone to be accountable to. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to be accountable to God.
Wow.
And I was like, even though I don't fully believe, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start doing it. And I told myself, I was like, you know what? Starting in 2020, that was the year. I was like, 2020, I'm going to start attending church every Sunday. I got in a men's Bible study group.
Come on.
I was like, I'm going to start tithing my money. And so I started tithing my money, and I started praying every day. And I just started being more obedient. And in 2020, I remember that was a spiritual journey that I was on. And one of the goals that I have in 2020 was to go from having my little studio to start stepping into online fitness coaching. So spiritually, and by the way, I haven't touched any of that stuff since 2019. Just like that, was able to break it off. God filled me up and started working amazing things in my life in 2020. I felt like even though it was a horrible year for a lot of people in COVID, they lost businesses and lost loved ones and things like that. It was one of the best years of my life because I felt like I got my life back.
Wow.
I got my spiritual health back. I got myself back. I started to feel more aligned. I started to feel like I'm working towards something that's outside of myself, and then COVID happened, which created an environment that was perfect for online coaching. So it truly catapulted my business in the direction that I wrote down on paper. Exactly. So I was like, man, and then PPP loans, business grants, thousands and thousands of dollars that I never had to pay back. That I was like, man, like, what is going on here? Like, I'm getting money. Like, I have this environment. I'm transitioning online coaching. Like, my fitness is back. My health is back, And so that was in 2020, 2021. I got introduced to a mentor. That mentor helped me go into online to a different level, which 2X my business. And then from there, started to build a business now. I got a business partner that works for me. So like just one year after another, things have gotten better and better and better, and chains have just truly fallen to the floor. But in my 20s, and I've played this game in my head that, as I'm 32 now, it's like, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, and I have a business. I'm very blessed to have this business, but I was like, I know it could be on a completely different level if I didn't give my energy towards the wrong things. If I would have truly, I know how hard I work and how focused I can be,
Yeah, but earlier you said it's never too late to start your fitness.
Exactly.
It's never too late to hit those goals.
Exactly.
Never too late to hit those dreams.
That was also the spirit of the enemy too. The enemy trying to put those thoughts in my head. God
wasted this time.
Exactly.
That's how he tries to rob us from our present moment. What we're doing.
You'll mess up again. Those types of things. But again, that spirit doesn't come from God. And so even that spirit. I don't feel guilt anymore. I don't feel shame because your mess becomes your greatest message.
Yeah.
And that mess, I now use it because there's a couple things I love in life: fitness, health, nutrition, feeling great, helping other people do the same. I love God, and what I'm doing in my business is kind of intertwining the two.
Come on.
Having aspects of faith and having aspects of fitness. And as I
And you didn't get fully free. Even in your fitness journey, the bad habits affecting your fitness were a spiritual warfare.
Yeah, kept going up and down.
And so until you went to God, and it also, I noticed something interesting about you that was really cool with your journey with faith. Most people have to have a radical encounter with God to begin to walk out disciplines in their faith.
Totally.
You came in, background in discipline, and said, I'll do the disciplines, but I don't really know about this God guy. And later got your awakening to your encounter with God and Jesus. Kind of cool. You know, it's just, you don't see that a lot.
Yeah, totally. You know, so it's just such important parts of my life. And, you know, I just feel like it's a calling. And I think we need those challenges. Everyone needs those challenges. You know, I've lived a wonderful life. I have a wonderful family. I live in San Diego, California. I've organized sports and vacations and field trips and friends and stuff like that. There wasn't a whole lot of pain and struggle. So it's like sometimes you need a little something in your life to shake you up a little bit, test you as a man and test you as a person. I think God can put those challenges in your life and give you the words and give you the strength that you need to overcome and to be the person that whoever you want to be, whether it's a fitness coach or whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's the best mom you can be, the best son you can be, the best employee you can be, you know, and you mix that with fitness and you do some of those big rocks like we talked about earlier and you start building those into your lifestyle like God wants you to do. Yeah. And then you can just become everything that God wants you to be, you know, and so, yeah, like I said, this, where I'm at now is just a path of service. You know, I want to build the best systems I possibly can to make it as easy as I can for my clients. I'm going to, you know, keep growing in my own fitness, my own knowledge, my own faith, and just keep pouring back in, you know, and living for something outside of myself. Like I was living life just for myself in my 20s, you know, selfish ambitions, selfish desires, fleshly desires, and just following those things, you know, which ultimately left me broken. But now, you know, he's pieced me back up and, you know, I'm forever grateful.
That's so good, dude. I love that, man. I love what God's doing in your life. And I love the level of excellence, even just listening to you speak. I know everyone listening can hear it. You care. You're driven. You care about excellence. Even recently we were talking, you came to our Christian Entrepreneur Club event and you were telling me like, hey, right now I'm really focusing on my product and making it excellent. And yeah, I would love to kind of hear your journey. You know, I think it's easy for someone to get into fitness coaching and basically people could come into your industry and say, I'm just going to do it like everyone else. Right. And they could just come in and, oh, this help you with their diet. I'll build some workout plans for them. And I'm a fitness coach. But when I was talking to you the other day, I remember getting off the call and be like, that's really cool. You're really investing into looking at your product over and over, improving it, hiring mentors, coaches. Tell us more about, from twofold, I had a lot of business owners that listen to this. So as a business owner, what has it been like in your journey of improving your product and your service and actually getting real with that and growing that? And then from a fitness standpoint too, what has that been like as you've been going deeper into how to bring more value to your clients?
Yeah. I think, you know, you don't ever want to pretend like you know everything, you know, and you have everything settled. You're always constantly learning. And even if you feel like you're in a great place with your fitness, there's always new things to learn. There's always different perspectives, you know, and yeah, you know, even going back to like when I first opened my business, my, you know, one-on-one personal training was what I was initially doing when I was 25 and had a studio, and that's great, you know, just kind of did what I was doing at 24 Fitness, but boom, for my own self, and then from there, just being fun, having flexible, you know, training clients, giving a great service, and then from there, you know, transitioning to online and delivering the service in a new way, more flexible, very detailed, but you know, in the span of some of the struggles that I've had, you know, I had also lost a certain point of like working diligently on my product, you know, because I was struggling with these things in my personal life, you know, and I was sure when you're working with me, you couldn't tell. Not when I've told this to my clients, my family, my friends, they're shocked. Like, wow, oh my God, you were going through all that? I'm like, I never would have guessed. Yeah. You know, because I still showed up and I still worked hard, you know. But there was a big span of time where it's like I wasn't working on the product. I wasn't really just trying to put myself in the client's position and think, what is every single problem that a client faces when they're trying to lose weight? And there's tons of issues to, you know, going to the grocery store. I don't know what grocery store to choose. I don't know what to get at the grocery store. I don't even know how it's laid out. What products is better than the next one? What should I buy? How do I do a meal plan? How do I cook food? How do I put it together? Should I put it in a bin? Should I do this? You know, when it comes to exercise, I work out in the gym, at home. What do I start with? There's just so many questions that someone has, and it's about providing specific solutions to every single question. So no matter what problem you face when it comes to weight loss, I have a specific solution that's going to take all the guesswork out of it. That's simple. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money, and it's going to help you get to your goals in a faster, more efficient way. So like I have a big old laundry list of things that I'm working on to improve the product. So yeah, from the nutrition side to the training side, again, just to help people, save time, save money, get to their goal in the most efficient way, clear up the minutia for them, help them build real skills that'll help them get to the next level. And so, so I have, I invest money just like you do, mentors, whatever it is. And, but yeah, like I said, just there's a lot of different things I could be putting my time in, but that's the most important thing is my product, taking care of my clients.
And you've been at fitness with your own business instructor for how long?
Yeah, I opened up my own studio in 2017.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're about, what is that, 7 years now?
7 years into business and going back and focusing on product again right now. I think that's so cool. And I want to bring this up because I have a lot of business owners that listen to this. And guys, as business owners, we should always be looking at our businesses, our products, our services, the way we serve our clients, the problems we solve, the needs that we fill, and saying, how can I do it at an even greater level?
Yeah.
And I love that you're doing that right now. I have learned that the people that create the best product and service always win in business.
Yep.
You sales and marketing do matter, but when your product is so good, it really does sell itself. And people tell people, especially in what you do, you have to work with Thomas.
Yep.
And that is the number one thing to be successful and stay in business, because you can sling deals all day,
Right.
but if your product sucks,
Yeah, they're just going to come out the back door.
they're going to you're going to have churn like crazy, and reputation's going to get tarnished, which is the most important thing in business.
Yeah.
And over time, it's also going to get to you, because if you're selling something isn't excellent, eventually you feel it.
Yeah.
You know you're not doing people the best service you could do for them.
If you're not growing, then you're just maintaining. There is no such thing as maintaining. There's other people out there that are making better stuff than you, so you're actively.
And I love we're a capitalistic country.
Yeah.
Because competition breeds innovation.
Right.
So if you're not innovating in your business and competing, and competition is healthy.
Yeah.
We should compete.
It's good for
there should be multiple fitness instructors they can choose, because it drives you to be excellent, to perform, to be different, to innovate, and hey, when you work with me, not only do I help you with fitness, I've thought of every single problem you're going to encounter, and I've already created a pre-built system and process to overcome it.
Exactly.
I did all the thinking for you. Exactly.
There is no thinking. It's plug and play. You come in, you where's your destination? We're going to head right there, and this is exactly how to do it.
So good, dude.
System. So, that's, like I said, we're just all in. And, I'm very confident in my service and what we deliver, but I see the clear vision. I'm like, okay, this thing's going to go to a completely different level.
Let's go.
And so we're just all
share that vision. Where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? Where are you taking all this?
Yeah.
Big vision.
Absolutely. So, when it comes to a vision, again, I'm just focusing on, being the number one in my space here in San Diego.
Let's go, baby.
Being well known, thrive, and again, what I really want to focus on is business owners and individuals that are struggling themselves and taking all the guesswork out of it. To get to this next level, having an amazing team, building a multi-million-dollar fitness company that just changes people's lives, that has God incorporated with it as well. So just something a little bit different. But, again, what ultimately is the most important thing to me is I want to be an amazing husband. I want to be an amazing father. I want to be an amazing entrepreneur. I want to be an amazing son and disciple of God.
Yeah.
Those are the most important things I'm going after, too. To check those boxes. Then people look at me, they feel inspiration that, man, I can live life better. I can move better, I can be better, and to represent that. That's what's important to me, is achieving those milestones. And so that's where all the focus is here.
Let's go.
And when I hit those things, sure, okay, we'll take a deep breath, we'll look around, be like, okay, what else can we do now? But those
never ends.
Those are the immediate targets.
That's so good, dude. I love those targets. I love that vision. And share again how people can find you on social media to plug in with you.
So Instagram and TikTok, you're gonna go Coach Thomas Padilla.
Okay.
Facebook and LinkedIn, Thomas Padilla. Really straightforward. Again, tcafitnesscoaching.com. You can check me out, and that's where you can find me.
Let's go. In closing remarks, any last thing that you'd like to say to the listener or the viewer that's listened to this whole podcast to this point?
Yeah, God is good. God is good, and He'll set you straight on your path. And then if you're struggling with something, don't struggle in silence. Get around some people that are going to pour into you. that God loves you. There's amazing health out there. You don't have to feel the same way that you're feeling right now. You don't have to live the same way that you're living right now. That if you have faith, you get around the right people, you get that compass going inside. No matter what's important to you, you can make it happen. Just put one foot in front of the other, take it slow, work hard, and you can do it.
Boom. So good, man. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. It was an honor having you. And guys, if you got value from this, reach out to Thomas, let him know. If you haven't left us a review on the podcast, helps us reach more people. 5-star review written really helps. People do read those. It boosts us in the algorithm. And just share it with a friend. I just think about like how much power there is if we get value from something and we just took time to text it to a friend, hit that share button and send it to your buddy or friend or someone that could use this content to collectively we can inspire every one of our friends in our circle to get better in everything that we do. And my hope is that's what this podcast is doing for you guys. But know that you can sit here and listen to Thomas and I talk and you can get some cool wisdom, but it means nothing if you don't go do anything with it. It means nothing if you don't go implement it. So my challenge for you is find the 1, 2, or 3 nuggets today that Thomas shared with us, write them down, and get to work making it happen. Go make today a great day. Well.